today, the defense attempting to chip away at the prosecution's allegation of molestation. A social worker took the stand today and testified that she interviewed the accuser and his family on February 20th, 2003. She said her office received a referral after the documentary Living with Michael Jackson aired. She said the referral contained 2 allegations: 1, general neglect from the mother, and 2, sexual abuse by Michael Jackson. She said during the interview the family said nothing improper ever happened at the ranch. She also said the family never said they were being held against her will. 7 days later, she said in a report that she concluded that the charges of general neglect were unfounded, and she noted in her report that the children said there was no sexual molestation. The prosecution's explanation for this testimony: the molestation occurred after the interview did.
These allegations of molestation did not occur until after this interview, so it's certainly believable that the boys were not sleeping in Michael Jackson's room, if you listen to the prosecution's theory, and all of this happened afterwards.
The defense pointed out that the accuser's mother did contact the social worker after the February 20th interview and never mentioned that the family was being held against their will. Once again, the jury is hearing about the rebuttal video that the prosecution says the accuser and his family were forced to participate in to help minimize the public relations crisis caused by the airing of the documentary Living with Michael Jackson. The accuser and his family testified that not only were they forced to participate in this video, but they were given a script and they were told exactly what to say. Well, today the defense called Christian Robinson to the stand. He was in charge of asking the questions during the rebuttal filming, and he said that there was a list of questions, but the answers were not scripted. And with regard to Debbie Rowe's participation in that rebuttal video, Robinson said there was also a list of questions for Debbie Rowe, but her answers were spontaneous and her answers were not scripted either. And this morning the jury heard from a young cousin of Michael Jackson. His name is Rio Jackson, and he testified that when he was at Neverland Ranch, he walked into one of the guest suites where the accuser and his brother were staying. Rio Jackson said they were watching an adult movie on the television, and he said the two were on separate beds and they were doing what he described as, quote, nasty stuff. It was later revealed the two boys were touching themselves. Rio Jackson also said the accuser and his brother stole money and wine from Jackson's kitchen. Well, talk show host Larry King was only at the courthouse for a short amount of time today. The defense wanted King to testify about a conversation he heard involving an attorney with the accuser's mother. Larry King said he thought he heard Larry Feldman, this attorney, say something along the lines of the accuser's mother is a wacko and she's only interested in money. Ultimately, Judge Melville ruling that King's testimony will not be heard before the jury. Here's why.
Well, it was a bit of a setback for the defense because they really would have loved to have testimony that the mother was out there for the money, but they didn't get the magic words out of Larry King or out of the other witness. They really would have had to say, not that they thought she was out for the money, but that she had said she was out for the money, and they weren't able to testify to that.
Meantime, the defense has moved on, and they did call their first witness of the day. Her name is Aja Pryor, and she shares a child with actor Chris Tucker. The two of them met the family. They went to Jackson's Ranch together with the family, and Aja Pryor said she developed a friendship with the children. And even though she's been called as a defense witness, she still has a lot of feelings toward the children. At one point in her testimony this morning, she started crying, and she said, "This is really hard for me because I really do love those kids." And we did get a glimpse into how the prosecution may proceed with her when it is their turn for cross-examination. Under his breath, District Attorney Tom Sneddon said, "Loud enough for us to hear, while the crying will help with my cross-examination." We do expect Aja Pryor's testimony to focus on a trip to Brazil the family claims Jackson was conspiring with his associates to send the family on.
This case is all about conspiracy, but the question is, which conspiracy do you believe?